Hey, hey, happy Tuesday.
How's everybody doing? Hey, it's December. What is today? The 14th, the 15th? How time flies, right? We're about halfway through the month of December, so we only have a couple of weeks left in order to finish this month strong. And I guess it depends on how you want to look at things, half full or half empty. 2020 is almost behind us. So
Isn't it crazy how much happiness, success, whatever people have tied to the numbers 2020, which at the beginning of the year we all thought was going to be a cool year, because how long is it going to be before it's 2020 again? Like, that's not going to happen again until it's 3030, right? We'll all be long dead. So it started out very promising, but then it kind of hit a snafu.
hit a dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire. So to continue our series on what the heck is an OBM, the first week we told you what an OBM is, online business manager. Last week we told you what's the difference between an OBM and a VA or virtual assistant. And this week we're going to give you some tips or ideas and thoughts on, you know, you need somebody, you're frustrated, you're overwhelmed, you have too much stuff to do and not enough hours in the day. You didn't do any Christmas shopping yet, and so now it's becoming pretty clear that you have to take something off your plate. So do you need a virtual assistant or do you need an OBM?
Yeah, so that really is the age-old question. And we've kind of joked over the last couple of weeks when we said, well, it depends. And the reality is, it does depend. So we'll do a quick recap. Remember that the OBM is responsible for the overall operations of your team tasks and duties. So whether you've got a product launch, you've got a project management, team management, you're trying to measure various metrics. There's a lot of things that an OBM is responsible for. Typically speaking, when you hire a VA, they are responsible for a very specific or singular set of tasks and responsibilities. So, for example, social media, right? You're currently doing it right now. You're running the rest of your business. You've got a pretty good handle on a lot of things, but you either just don't want to do your daily social media posts. You don't have the time anymore. You're having trouble creating the content. You know, the creativity is maybe becoming stale. And so really you just want to outsource that one part. The reality is you don't need an OBM. You need to find a good, solid VA that is specializing in social media strategy and content, and delegate or outsource that particular part of your business so that, number one, they're going to get a set of fresh eyes. They're going to learn about you. They're going to learn about your business. But you just want to get a few things off your plate and they can handle that for you. And typically you can find those for what we'll call it a reasonable rate, or you know, it's all relative, I guess, to what you're used to spending. But in terms of what your time is worth, hiring someone to run some social media campaigns for you isn't really too expensive. And they're very, very good at what they do because they're very specialized. They spend a lot of time studying analytics. They spend a lot of time studying what other people do on social media, what works, what doesn't work. They if you find the right person, they're extremely valuable, and it frees up a lot of time for you to run your business more effectively.
They also could be calling themselves a social media manager or social media marketing person. I mean, they really are a VA, because all a VA is really any kind of person working virtually doing blah. Right. Whatever blah is, it doesn't matter.
But with social media,
yeah, you could be a virtual assistant who does bookkeeping all day. But in this case, you're looking for a social media manager. And so for those of you who are going to ask, how much does that cost? We're going to say it depends, but usually you pay between $300 and $500 per platform for social media. And then if you're hiring somebody to do like all your content and all your social media on one or two platforms, usually you pay that person at least $1,000 a month for maybe 20 hours of work a week, something like that, which means that you don't have to touch social media except to maybe make funny reels with no copy and content in them, to take photos of yourself all around various places for somebody to use.
Yeah, and usually at that higher end, generally speaking, the people that we know that have done it and the people that we use, that's not just creating a random post every day. It is, there's a strategy involved. They're watching maybe your live videos. They've looked over your content. They've studied your business. They're creating the graphics and things to go along with their post. They're coming up with a strategic way in order to get your information out, whatever message you want. So they're not just arbitrarily creating social media content, but rather being an extension of you as the owner, so that you'll spend some time with them, giving them an opportunity to learn about you, your company, your values, what messaging you want to put out. Do you have any upcoming new product launches, whether it's service or product? And so they're really, really good. So when you get in that $1,000 a month range, you're not just paying for somebody to sit on their couch every day at 7 o'clock and go, hey, I'm watching, what's a popular show now? I don't even know.
The Bachelor.
I'm watching The Bachelor or whatever.
House Hunters.
It's way more than that. There's a great strategy. So
I don't know very many people doing social media off a phone. They might be doing like the engagement off the phone on Instagram specifically because it's a lot easier, but nobody's writing copy off of a phone. Like even people I know that are really good at it are typing it in notes on their computer and then copying it over or whatever. They're not doing it on a phone.
Yeah, and that was my point, that's not what you're getting for $1,000 a month. You're getting somebody that's a professional. They've got high-end technology and equipment. They've got a strategy. They're keeping track of things. They're measuring analytics, et cetera, et cetera.
So anyway, back to the original question. Do you need an OBM or do you need a VA? So you need a VA if it's something like singular where you just need somebody to take social media off your plate, or you need somebody to take copywriting off your plate, or you need somebody to take I don't know, orders, like maybe you're a like
Facebook
boutique.
ads, it could be.
Yeah, any of those things. That's usually a VA with whatever kind of title they want to call themselves.
So if you're wondering if it's a VA that you need or an OBM, again, the online business manager, the difference is going to be, let's say you already have some of these individual VAs in place. You have someone doing your social media. You've hired a VA that's doing your bookkeeping and or accounting. You've hired somebody that's doing copywriting work for you. You've hired somebody that's doing some web design work for you. So now you find yourself struggling or challenged to manage all of those different VAs that you have, because they're doing a great job. It's causing you to grow your business. It's causing you to scale. But now you find yourself challenged with, gosh, how do I keep up with what they're doing? Not to mention the work that you have to do. That's where an OBM would come in. So that OBM would come in, again, get to know you, what your company is, what your expectations are, who's a part of your team, what their responsibilities are. And then that owner or that OBM would jump in between you and your team of VAs in whatever capacity that you've hired them. And they now become the extension of you to follow up with those people to ensure that deadlines are met, the quality of work is to your standards. There's a strategy involved, that things that are being promised and that are a part of whatever hiring agreement or contract are made, and then report back and forth both ways, from the owner down to the VAs and the VAs back up through the owner. The reality is there may be a time when you need to do both of those at once. And there are companies like us, quite honestly, where you could hire as an OBM and then pay for the additional VA services that can be subcontracted out through the OBM, which is what we would do. So anyway, there's a time, I guess, when it's either a VA or an OBM, but there's actually times when you're holding it all together, you're getting it done, but my goodness, you need to outsource some things, and you need to outsource them fast, and you need to outsource them organized. That may be a time where you need to outsource it with the guidance of a qualified, experienced OBM.
So anyway, that is what is an OBM versus a VA. Like, when do you decide which one to hire? Some tips on how to hire one. And next week, we are going to wrap it all up because nobody's going to listen to us the week after Christmas. And we're going to tell you how to strategize having an OBM and a VA. Some people think that you should be telling the OBM what they're going to do for you. Some people want the OBM to tell them what they're going to do for them. It honestly depends on, what's that annoying test you take that tells what your personality is?
Rorschach test, that's the one?
Yeah, where
Rorschach.
I, D, C, and S, the DISC test. That's what it's called, DISC. It depends on what your DISC personality is. Oh my God, I can't believe I just forgot that. So it depends on what kind of person you are. Like for us, I would never want an OBM, if I wasn't one myself, to come and tell me what they were going to do for me. I would want to know the things that I did not like to do, that I wanted off my plate, like social media. And I would be telling them to take the social media, not them telling me they're going to take the social media. So it depends on what kind of personality you are. It also depends on, are you working with somebody who's like ADHD and very has lots of ideas but has problems with executive function, because that's going to determine who and how it gets put together so that it's not overwhelming and never gets done. So anyway, join us next Tuesday at 6 for the last live on Tuesday of the year.
Grand finale.
Anyway,
Thanks for
happy
joining us.
Tuesday. Bye. And yes, it's really that cold. That's why I'm wearing so much clothes.